Poppies are the most wonderful flowers and I just love them. Hi, I'm Kate with Craft Along with Kate, and I am a botanical artist and a paper florist, which means I create flowers out of paper. And I'd like to show you how to make this delightful little poppy, actually kind of a big poppy, out of crepe paper. Please do like and subscribe if you enjoy this craft video. I have another free tutorial series about how to create a more in-depth poppy, like this one, where you sculpt the inner center and then you dye the crepe paper to make these beautiful, beautiful sunshiny colors. All right, in the first video, we're going to be learning more about the materials and where to find them, especially about doublette paper, which is what you'll make this poppy out of. And then I'll show you how to cover the center and make your first cut of the petals. And then in the next video, we'll wrap up. So thanks for joining me. And again, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this tutorial.
I use primarily a paper from Germany called doublette, which is made by a company called Werola, Werola. And you can buy a kit from Petals and Pearls in the United States to make my poppies. I'm so excited. Petals and Pearls works with us, and it'll have all these different materials. Doublette comes in wonderful, what I would call populicious flavors. And you can also dye doublette into even more beautiful colorways. And let's make one out of red. You're also going to need a couple scraps of heavyweight crepe paper. You can also get that by Werola or Carta Technica Rossi. And you really don't need much at all, which is why it's great to get one of the kits, because it's really got everything you need in a very affordable way. Now, here's a really important point about crepe paper, which is that there's something called the grain, kind of like wood grain. And the grain, every time paper florists, which are those of us who make paper flowers, talk about crepe paper, we're always talking about it with the grain going vertically. So you can kind of see that here, and you can definitely see it here. So every time I use crepe paper, I'm always going to have the grain going up and down. All right, and then you're going to need some other typical paper art supplies like wire. This is floral wire. This, I believe, is 16 gauge. 14 gauge would be perfect. If your floral wire comes in a different color than green, you may want to use floral tape to make it green. Floral tape is another kind of crepe paper. Actually, it's crepe paper that's been waxed, and all you have to do is warm it with the heat of your fingers and then twist it on, and you'll get a beautiful stem. So you can use floral tape to thicken a stem, like let's say you're using 16 gauge and you want it to look a little bit thicker. But I like my poppies balanced on a thin wire. We're going to be using an orange stick to shape the petals, but you can also use a knitting needle, a crochet hook, any kind of skewer will work just fine. Have yourself a good pair of scissors, a ruler, something to wipe your fingers off with. I love tacky glue, and I wanted to show you that I keep it in a cup facing down. This makes sure that the glue is all ready to flow. And then you're going to want some kind of sphere to use as the top. I use spunnies, which are spun cotton balls, as much as I can, but lately, because of tariffs, they're getting a little more expensive. And I think environmentally, they are a much better choice than foam balls, which I have right here. You can also use wooden beads very easily for this. So the measurement of the cotton ball is about 22 millimeters. I should say the spun cotton ball. Don't get regular cotton balls. All right, so let's move on to the first step, which I already showed you, which is putting some hot glue in your choice of center and just getting ready to go. I prefer Surebonder Cool Shot glues. I think that they are much less likely to burn you.
The fold of doublette paper is almost 10 inches long. I put marks 3 1/3 and then 6 2/3 down, and that'll help me make 3 even slices of the doublette fold, and they'll be in streamers almost. So I'm going to take the first streamer and cut it in half. And okay, so here I have half of one of those streamers, and I've folded it into 3. This gives me 3 even pieces. I'm going to pick the top of the paper, either side will do, and I'm going to round the corners. Then I'll cut the sides, which will then separate into 3 even pieces. So 2 of those are done, and those are going to be the larger petals. And then I'm going to cut the other one in half, and that'll give me my last 2 petals. And I've got to round that corner again. All right, so now I'm going to do a little quality control, fix that one. I didn't like the rounding, and so I've got 2 small and 2 large petals. All set. That's the only cutting I have to do for the petals anyway. All right, now we're going to cut the center. And so I've cut myself a small piece of the heavyweight crepe paper. I've put glue on it, and now I'm going to stretch it to cover the center ball. We are halfway there. Please do watch video 2, and it'll show you how to finish the flower.